So my name's David Harris. I'm a New Zealand-born Tongan Niuean, now a citizen and resident of Australia. My journey began to Christ when my grandmother, a godly, super spiritual woman, invited me along to a Billy Graham crusade in February of 1969. And that's when I received Christ. I probably didn't realize the significance of that decision, nor of that moment. It was in an outdoor stadium in Auckland, Western Springs. I don't remember much else about that night except that I responded to an altar call to receive Christ, and I made a decision that night as this kid from the south of Auckland, Otara. But this experience in attending that crusade really changed the course of my life. As it happened, the Church of the Nazarene came to our area, and established a church. Back in that day, it was at Johnson's Road in Otara. And then after a time there, we relocated to Presbyterian Church on the corner of Beards Road and Otara Road, where the Otara Chuch the Nazarene had its beginnings, its foundation. Yeah, so I guess my involvement in what is now NYI began almost more than 50 years ago. And it's been transformational. I think of my years in that youth group at the Otara Chuch, where, I don't know, 70 to 90% of the group were my cousins. I really have my grandmother to be thankful for that. She's gone to glory, but her legacy, not only in me, but in many who attended that church, lives on today. Pastor Max at the Otara Chuch is her nephew. Sully Paea, who I think it was earlier this year, was awarded a New Zealand medal in the Queen's Birthday Honours, I believe it was. Sully was my grandmother's nephew, and he was a guy that walked on the wild side. Had a colourful background, and he was searching. And he somehow made a connection with my grandmother, and he was transformed. He started to follow Christ, and he was our youth leader at the Otara Chuch for many years. Went off to Nazarene Bible College as a foundation year student after its relocation to Thornlands in Brisbane. But prior to that, though, he was a very real part of our lives in discipling and leading a youth choir and ministry at the Otara Chuch. Sully established a youth drop-in centre at in the basement of the East Tamaki shopping centre. And I would rock up there after school, and we'd work on cleaning the place up and scrubbing floors and toilets. And I think Joanne, Sully's wife, still has a notebook to this day where I was the honorary treasurer. Yeah, so youth group was a regular activity. And for me, a bit of a Nigel no friends. Wasn't a study nerd so much. Went to school, but I really found a place of belonging in the church, in the youth group particularly. From very early on, I found leadership roles when the church relocated, and then under the ministry of Joe and Naomi Bentham, got involved in not only leading the youth group, but also probably the youngest and one of the first young people on the board at the Otara Chuch. Great memories, many memories of spending Friday nights and then worship services on Sunday in that faith community, in that youth group where I found acceptance. And apart from the fact that most of those guys were my cousins, so they had to put up with me. then we made the move to Australia, and again, found the Birong Church here in Sydney, plugged into ministry there, got involved in the youth group and leading leadership there. Prior to that, in 1979, I went on a trip to Nazarene Bible College, and it was just to explore the possibilities of, is there a possibility that God might be calling us into leadership, into ministry preparation? And so I went on that trip, and it was indeed a pivotal moment. And I had a very clear sense of call to ministry. And under the ministry of Dr. A.A.E. Berg, who was the superintendent at that time, I responded to God's call and acknowledged it at the altar at the church campus there, the college campus. And I wasn't able to follow through on that call to ministry until quite a few years later. I still remember it to this day, that Yvonne passed me a note in church at Birong there, and saying, do you still believe that God is calling you to ministry and, leading you to prepare for ministry at Nazarene Bible College? And for me, that was a reasonably clear sign that God was opening up the doors for us to make that move. And so that was probably 1987, I think, and I began as a student at NBC in 1988, graduated in 1990, and then began ministry at the Birong Church as the youth pastor and minister of music. Served as a NYI district president on the Australia Southern District for a number of years. Was given the opportunity to serve on the NYI Asia Pacific Regional Council, and just love that connection with our brothers and sisters across the Asia Pacific region, and also being a part of the Global NYI Council as the regional president. A bit of a long journey, but like I said, that Billy Graham crusade way back then, and all those intervening years of being a part of youth groups, places of belonging, of welcome, of acceptance, regardless of who I was, who I wasn't, and just so valuable and appreciative of all that NYI is, and all that it has contributed to my life, my growth as a young person, but also given me the opportunity to invest in the lives of young people. And I could not think of spending a more worthy and worthwhile endeavor than to invest in the lives of young people. Wouldn't have traded it for the world.